Word from the Lord, May 2nd, 2021. As you sit there whining, murmuring, complaining that your brethren in Christ have done nothing, have buried their heads in the sand as the enemy has slowly taken the land. The Lord has questions for you, child of God. What did you do when they removed God and prayer from your schools? What did you do when they removed God from your halls of justice? What did you do when they removed God from the marriage bed? What did you do when they began and continue to sacrifice the children to Molech? What did you do when the spirits of perversion, lust, mammon were being erected, fortified principalities and powers over America? What did you do when those aligned with the enemy began to march across this land? What did you do when the enemy tried to steal your breath and muzzle you? What did you do? What are you doing? You murmur, you whine, you complain as your armor sits in the corner rusting, as your weapons of warfare collect dust forgotten. You sit there watching the enemy take ground, never opening your mouth, never standing. You sit there expecting others to rise up, stand up, and take back what the enemy has stolen for you. You dance, you play, you give service with your lips while your hearts are far from the Lord. You dance, you play as foreign gods were being erected across the land. Then you bowed to them and went along. Hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil was and is your motto. Blend in, get along, don't step on any toes, ignore the elephants in the room is your mantra. And as you sit on your laurels, the enemy has come in. It is not the sinner/unbeliever that has blood upon their hands. It is not the sinner/unbeliever who has the armor of God. It is not the sinner/unbeliever who has the weapons of warfare that are mighty. So, where does the blood of the innocent lie? Where does the breach in the walls lie? Where does the lost ground lie? Who is it that really slumbers? Who is it that has fallen asleep? Who is it that has no faith? Who is it that does not believe? Children lost and wandering in the desert/wilderness. The question is this: will the children die in the desert/wilderness, or will they cross over and take dominion? Be it according to your faith. Only believe. The good report is old, is older than the earth and all that was created. In what report do you believe in? In what report do you have faith in? In what report do you trust in? Whom do you really follow? I Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man I put away childish things. Word from the Lord, May 2nd, 2021. You may think, may even be celebrating that you have snuck, slid, slithered in under the very noses of the peoples. You may think your slow, silent attack to take over the gates has succeeded. You may think your plans, your agenda is successfully being solidified, instituted, cemented in place. You may even think that your smoke and mirror tactics, your silencing the lambs, your massive reports have been believed, your massive invasion of fear, hatred, rage have succeeded. You may even think that you stand on the cusp of victory in this final hour. But in this final hour, on the cusp, the real lion is standing roaring. He is known as the Lion of Judah. In this final hour, the stone has rolled away and the tomb is still empty. In this final hour, the Tower of Babel you have so carefully constructed, directed, is crumbling, breaking, cracking, tumbling, turning to dust and ashes before your very eyes. In this final hour, those gates are being taken back. Let freedom ring forevermore. In this final hour, Haman is being led to the very gallows he erected for God's children. In this final hour, the army of the Lord has bound the principalities, the powers, the wickedness in heavenly places. In this final hour, the light is shining in the darkness, exposing, putting the axe to the tree and pulling it up by its roots. In this final hour, the battle is the Lord's and the victory is the Lord's. In this final hour, the prophets of Baal are beheaded by Elijah. In this final hour, Jezebel is being thrown down by her own eunuchs as Jehu arrives demanding her blood. In this final hour, the enemy's walls have been breached, crumbling down and falling. In this final hour, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil has withered. In this final hour, those that have raised up their rebellion against God are looking for places to hide. In this final hour, the God of the Old Testament and the New Testament will rise, will show his glory upon the earth. For, he changes not and his justice prevails. In this final hour, those that have stood, those that have fought the good fight, those that have raised their voices to sound the trumpets, to blow the shofars will be vindicated, established. In this final hour, freedom will ring, the Lord will prevail, the land of the free will shine from sea to shining sea. Word from the Lord, April 9, 2021. Hear yet. Hear yet. Esther has been put in place for such a time as this. Mordecai sits at the gate crying loudly, the sins and plans of the Hamans. The gallows has been erected. The edict signed. The enemy laughs in glee believing he has won. But the edict signed, is signed in the blood. The edict for justice against those that have come against the Most High, signed in the blood of the Lamb. For 30 pieces of silver they bowed down before the enemy and betrayed the peoples. For 30 pieces of silver they plotted and planned. For 30 pieces of silver and the promise of power, glory, mammon. For 30 pieces of silver. Now as they are exposed, their plots, webs, deceits, smoke and mirrors are brought down. They run, they hide, they turn upon themselves like ravenous wolves, devouring each other. Now their towers fall, now their high places tumble, now their fortified walls tumble to dust and ashes. Now the roots are exposed, their deadly leaves that were fed to the peoples withered, rotted, dust. Now that black tree falls from the axe. Will any cry? Will any care? Will any see? Now the shifting begins. The ground trembles and shakes in anticipation as the thunder rolls across the land. All are watching from every nation and peoples. Now they will quake as the mighty hand of the Lord lifts and comes down. The stone is rolled away, the tomb is empty. The enemy's plan is defeated, for the battle is the Lord's. And his victory is assured. The Lord asks from his holy mountain. Did you, O man, think that I would not stand? Not move? Not defend? Did you, O man, think that I would not come down? No one steals my glory. For 30 pieces of silver you have signed your fate. For 30 pieces of silver you have your moment in fame, in power, in glory. Watch it fade, watch it wither, watch it die for 30 pieces of silver. Prophecy is from